You were never meant to live by the clock. You were trained to. Let us look closely at the origins of the clock mindset. There is a ghost that governs your life, and you've never seen it. It doesn't speak, but it dictates when you wake up. It doesn't touch you, but it controls how fast you move. It doesn't exist, yet it owns your time. This ghost was born in factories. Long before your calendar reminders and productivity apps, there were assembly lines, massive, loud, unforgiving systems that demanded one thing above all else: predictable human output. Workers weren't seen as souls or thinkers or creators. They were extensions of machines. Time had to be measured, sliced, and optimized. Minutes became units, hours became quotas, and human life became production. What's dangerous is not that this system existed. What's dangerous is that it never truly died. It evolved. The factory became the office. The whistle became the notification. The supervisor became your own internal voice whispering, "You're not doing enough." You think you're managing your time, but in reality, time is managing you. And here's the deeper fracture. You've internalized this system so completely that you now measure your worth by your output. If you're not producing, you feel guilty. If you rest, you feel behind. If you pause, you feel irrelevant. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, who decided that your value is tied to how much you produce? This isn't natural, it's inherited. As explored in ideas like those in Productivity, Machines, and Mortality, modern productivity culture didn't emerge to make you fulfilled, it emerged to make systems efficient. And somewhere along the way, efficiency replaced meaning. The tragedy? You've been trying to optimize a life that was never meant to be optimized. And the cost is your aliveness.
And how about the biological rebellion? Do you know why your body refuses the system? Your body knows something your calendar doesn't. It refuses consistency. Some days you feel sharp, focused, unstoppable. Other days, even the simplest task feels like dragging a mountain uphill. You blame yourself for this inconsistency. You call it laziness, lack of discipline. But what if it's neither? What if your inconsistency is actually intelligence? Human beings are not linear systems. We are cyclical. Your energy rises and falls in rhythms, hormonal, emotional, psychological. There are moments of expansion and moments of contraction, periods of clarity and periods of confusion. But the industrial ghost doesn't tolerate cycles. It demands uniformity. It expects you to perform at the same level every single day, as if you were a machine with stable output and no internal weather. So what happens? You override your body. You drink more caffeine. You force focus when your mind is fogged. You push through exhaustion just to maintain the illusion of consistency. And slowly, something inside you begins to fracture. Burnout isn't just exhaustion, it's rebellion. It's your biology rejecting a system that denies its nature. This is why no productivity hack ever truly works long-term, because they're built on the same flawed assumption that you can engineer yourself into constant output. But you can't, because you're not broken, you're misaligned. The real shift begins when you stop asking, "How can I be more productive?" and start asking, "When am I naturally powerful?" Because your peak states are not random, they are signals. Signals of when to create. Signals of when to rest. Signals of when to step back and recalibrate. The problem isn't that you're not disciplined enough. The problem is you've been disciplining yourself against your own nature.
There's a lie so deeply embedded in modern culture that it feels like truth. If you're not producing, you're falling behind. This belief doesn't just shape your schedule, it shapes your identity. You start introducing yourself through what you do. You measure your days by what you completed. You feel anxious when there's nothing to show for your time. But underneath this lies a deeper fear. If I stop producing, do I still matter? This is where productivity becomes psychological control. Because once your sense of worth is tied to output, you no longer need external pressure. You become self-regulating, self-policing, self-exploiting. You wake up already behind. You rest with guilt. You chase an invisible finish line that keeps moving. And the system wins because it doesn't need you to force you anymore. You're doing it to yourself. But here's the paradox. The most meaningful parts of life cannot be measured. Connection, insight, creativity, presence. These don't operate on deadlines. They don't follow schedules. They emerge in stillness, in slowness, in space. Yet you've been trained to eliminate space. Every gap must be filled. Every silence must be productive. Every moment must justify itself. And in doing so, you've crowded out the very experiences that make life feel alive. This is why so many people feel empty even when they're successful, because they've mastered output but lost connection. The truth is uncomfortable. You can be incredibly productive and completely disconnected from your own life. So the real question isn't how much you're doing. It's whether any of it actually feels like you. So, how do you reclaim your time and move from mechanical living to soul-centered flow? Reclaiming your time doesn't start with a better planner. It starts with rebellion. A quiet, internal refusal to continue living by rules that were never designed for your humanity. This doesn't mean abandoning structure, it means redefining it. Instead of forcing yourself into rigid schedules, you begin to observe your natural rhythms. When do you feel most creative? When does your energy peak? When do you naturally withdraw? You start building your life around these signals, not ignoring them. This is what it means to move from mechanical time to biological time. In mechanical time, the clock dictates your actions. In biological time, your internal state guides them. And something powerful happens when you make this shift. Work becomes more intuitive. Rest becomes guilt-free. Time becomes expansive instead of suffocating. You stop trying to control every moment and instead learn to align with it. This is not laziness, it's precision. Because when you operate in sync with your natural flow, your output doesn't decrease. It becomes more potent, more focused, more meaningful. But more importantly, your life starts to feel like your own again. You're no longer chasing time, you're inhabiting it. The industrial ghost loses its grip the moment you realize this. Your life is not a production line. It is a living, breathing experience, one that cannot be measured in hours, tasks, or outputs. And the moment you stop trying to optimize your existence is the moment you finally begin to live it.
If this conversation gave you something to think about, a new perspective, or even a small sense of clarity, then this channel is for you. Consider joining this growing community by subscribing
and leave a like on the video so more people searching for answers can find these ideas too. Your support keeps these conversations alive. Until the next video, keep reflecting, keep growing, and keep pondering life's journeys.